Just thought I would take you along for my little evening walk. It's a little earlier than normal. I'm gonna hit the hay early tonight. We're getting ready for a graduation party here at the farm, so busy. So we butchered the Cornish cross, which are the white chickens. We butchered, I think 20 of those this past weekend. So we have, for meats, let me step over this fence without getting shocked. So for the meats, we have the Red Rangers left, and there's approximately, well, we started with 30, so there's probably right around 28 or 29 left. And then we have these speckled Sussex, and you'll see that I'm letting them out. So these are more of a dual purpose, if there's such a thing. I know a lot of, I don't know how they'll finish off for meat. So these are unsexed. So they definitely exhibited a desire to get out and forage like that one's doing back there. And so anyway, a couple days ago, I just started opening this during the day and letting them come out. And I'll come back out closer to dark. They'll all kind of come back in. Eventually they'll start laying and we'll move them to our mobile coop. This is just for efficiency. We're out here moving the meat chickens, put them on there as well as helps us deposit the manure onto the ground, to the pasture. So what we got here is, I really like these. These are totes from Lowe's. I bought them from my construction company a couple years ago. So the layer feed for the Sussex is in here. We have the broiler in here. And each one of them, I sprinkle on this grit. Because as you know, chickens need grit. They don't have teeth and they have the gizzard. And we have some apple cider vinegar here that we add to the water. For some overall health component. There's a lot of discussion about what that actually does and so forth. So, yeah. So these are pretty much the same. They're a little bit. There's a couple of differences, and these doors on top are really kind of just. They were temporary, and I just haven't gotten back to figuring out how to do my final design. I actually made these out of 1x4 to make them a lot lighter to move. It's somewhere in between. Combination. It ain't the Salatin style, but obviously is very similar to that. Really like the PVC roofing or corrugation we get it from Menards. It's a lot lighter than, I definitely would not use steel. And this version, we have chicken wire on the top, but we have hardware cloth on the sides, just for better predator control. A lot of people do not run the poultry netting around, and we didn't have any issues. It didn't drive me to put the poultry netting on the outside, but to me it's a primary and secondary, or however you want to look at that, one way or the other, security that, any type of critter, which raccoons would be the biggest ones around here. Just saw a fat one the other night, but they got to get through here. And this runs about, after it burns off the grass, when you first set it, it probably runs around 4,000, 5,000 volts. And then, of course, then they're just locked in here, and it's pretty difficult for them to get in to here. In regards to the tires, just like the other people do, matter of fact, I noticed these are still on, which we try to take these off. Normally take these off because otherwise it leaves a gap underneath the bottom of the tractor. My son forgot to take these off and he moved them this morning. Hard to do this with, you got a camera in your hand. For our water, I need to finish this, but it's all gravity fed. I'm kind of using the head pressure from the IBC tote as well as the contour of our land to help with that. This piece of insulation needs to get put back in here. And this was a prototype I started last year. A lot of the problems that people talk about with IBC totes are the temperature of the water, and then also black algae. And they make a black skirt that goes over this, but in my opinion, the water gets really hot. So I actually had all this insulated last year. It all looked like this. And I tell you, middle of July, that water stayed cool. I mean, cool to the touch for a week. And it was over 90 degrees. So now we'll put the insulation back on, and we'll actually, for my construction material, I have some extra vinyl siding, and we'll put some siding around it. and we just come with my small tractor and hook up to it and move it around where we need to be, because I don't know if you can see it, but you know, the house up here is on a hill, so that lends itself to some gravity feeding. Neat little side, we've got some family of swallows in here, which of course is a huge asset when it comes to airborne insects, mosquito control. Oh, I'm looking right there. There it goes. So there's a family of them there. We have another house up there. So come out, check the chickens for evening again a little bit early. I'll come back out and put the Sussex back in. So let's go see the pigs. Just for gee whiz, where you see this row crop, this cornfield, this is 26 acres. About half of that is tillable. We purchased that this past December, so totally we have about 33 acres here now, which is nice. And this year it'll be row crop again. My friend will farm it, but we'll put into perennial pasture over the next couple of years as I catch up with the one of many projects. Usually I'm on my side-by-side, makes this a little quicker, but we'll take a walk today. It's really nice. So one of my most relaxing things to do is come and check the animals both in the morning, even especially at night. I don't know if I'm smart enough to link the video, but I made one this morning. I came out here to check the pigs and they were gone. And we'll come back to that when I get down there. Another IBC tote. You know, I just buy the water, you know, the adapter right off of Amazon. That's what this is. You just make sure you know your big range from 2-inch to 2.5-inch adapters. But we fill this up once every, perhaps it's been several weeks. It just gravity feeds down here. And I bought a pre-made pig, we're drinking off of it right now. It just gravity feeds into this. I do have a valve and also a quick connect here. The quick connect if I need to fill pail of water for another reason. But we bought the nipples online, and I bought this water from Fleet Farm for 46 bucks. So what we have going on here is all cattle panel, very reinforced. This wire, this poly wire net is actually for my dogs because they always want to get to the pigs, and pig poop and dogs chewing it doesn't mix. So we put that up. It's not actually electrified, but my dogs already broke to this because of the chickens. So they feed grain, you know, we feed grain. We get it from a local mill. But we also, everything from the house table scrap comes in here. And quite honestly, they'll go for that over the grain 100 times over. So what we're doing here is, it's somewhat of a deep bedding. We're working towards that. You know, well, maybe move them once yet this year. But we're bringing in mulch. And also I have a round bale down here, a moldy round bale I bought from the neighbor farmer. And we're throwing that in here. And honestly, I don't even smell pigs right now. You've seen this from a million people on YouTube on why you do it. But really, really enjoying it. These are our first pigs. They're just your standard feeder pig. They're probably a Yorkshire cross of something. I don't know. I want to get smarter on that in the future, but I just wanted to try. So anyway, I came out here this morning. There was nothing going on, and I don't know if I could. I'll see if I can connect that video to here. I'm not that smart. But they were gone, and the long story short, they're in the IBC tote, and it was flipped upright with the opening to the top. And I tell you what, my fear of pigs, not fear of pigs, but my fear with the pigs has been getting out. So I'm super anal about checking the perimeter every time I come out here to make sure they're not rooting too far. And it was a funny moment. You know what we're trying to do here eventually up here, this is basically all box elder with some ash, is to take about 50% of the trees out of here and get this into silvopasture. That's going to take us a couple years. And we're just doing a trial run here. And it's a really nice mix. They get sunlight and they lay in it, but they also have plenty of shade too, which will be really important come July and August for the pigs. So their names are, it's a boy and a girl. Their names are Newman and Dolores. And if you're a Seinfeld fan, you'll get that. You got a pile of mulch over there that I dump in here every once in a while, and also this round bale. And this round bale has pretty good seed heads in it. So I don't know that it'll take, you know, this year, especially in this canopy, but hopefully what we're doing is, well, not hopefully, we're definitely feeding the soil. Anything dead, a dead chicken carcass, all the guts from eviscerating the chickens, all came in here, put on a mulch pile on top of it to keep the flies down, and all of that is biology at work in the soil. The other day we actually had this branch come down in a storm, and it dented it a little bit on the other side as well as right here. Nothing crazy. It actually came down in a good spot where it's doubled up here, but they really like rubbing it, so we've left it in there, kind of no harm no foul right now, and they really seem to like rubbing it against this end of it here. So we'll put the pigs to bed and go look at the sheep. Another funny story, a couple things that happened in the past week. I was trying to put a sheep shade together, and I literally built this thing out of cattle panels. I knew I needed to find some type of structural support. I put it out, came back in, got on Facebook, and I tell you, I follow a sheep group, and it was the first thing in there that day was somebody built something very similar to this, and it did not go well, and neither did mine. The sheep immediately get on here, start collapsing it. It was a failure. So, and I was really doing it more because it's not, it's really not scalable when you have, as much sheep as we're eventually going to have to provide them shade. It is what it is, nature, right? You try to do your best, but this was just something I was trying out, and it's going to get scratched and utilized into something different. But it was just the timing of seeing the failure by other people designing this exactly the same way. Basically, two cattle panels in the loop. You've got to have some type of support here. And again, those sheep were up on this immediately, looking like goats. So another funny story from last week is I was actually doing a video for a young man, neighbor who was watching our animals while we were gone. I had the instructions and the chores for the chickens as well as the pigs, and I was going to put it on YouTube so that your other friends could see it. And I got over to, actually, we were in this northeast small pasture, and I had the smart fence set up, which you'll see, and I came around the curve on the Ranger, and I looked up, no sheep, which they lay in the tall grass. They're hard to see, but when I got up there, there was no sheep. So I immediately stopped the video because, I needed to find my sheep, and I was pretty embarrassed. Come to find out, when I had put the smart fence out, which I'll show you in a little bit, I forgot. I was in a rush. I think it was raining. I forgot to move one of the support stakes, and there was a big gap, and there was a gap kind of like what you're seeing here, actually, because I use I have an extra support that I use with the other, like the Premier netting. This wasn't here, so there was a large gap, as well as the solar battery was very low because it had been 4 or 5 days of cloudiness. So I was preparing those videos for instructions for that young gentleman to watch the animals while we were gone, and I don't want to be getting phone calls while I'm gone, so I put the sheep in here. These are gates we're going to use on our perimeter woven wire fence, so this is not a standard operation where I'm putting up these all the time. But I put them in here, and they were in here for 2.5 days, and they did a great job. So I'm actually going to move this in the next couple of days because the big news is we're getting a family milk cow, an A2 Jersey, and she's bred to a Limousine, which is a beef breed. So we'll get her. She's dry and due to calve in July. So now we'll go check the sheep. These are Katahdin Dorper Cross. The one that's all black is pretty much straight Dorper, I believe, is what the breeder told me. But this is Gallagher Smart Fence. I really like it. We've got some mineral, which is kelp and garlic in there. They do not drink much water, a little bit of water. We're getting, the tough tote or Rubbermaid tote. That will be tough stuff, I think they call it. For when we get more sheep, we're going to have more once we get the fence up next year. These are just 4 feeder lambs that'll be butchered in December or January. But this is that smart fence. It's basically 4 wires, and you just pull it all at once. It's got a big reel on it, and you can tighten it up. I really like it so far. All 4 strands are powered. That's a separate reel, and right now it's not doing anything. I had it stretched across when they were locked in on that side, and then I just put a jumper cable on to electrify that when I want to keep them on one side. Specifically, what I found with the sheep in this area is you will see that as I walk up here, this was the path for the ranger, kind of as we were getting things ready. I don't like to drive through the pasture, but you can kind of see the track here. Well, when they were on that other side of the paddock, they were really hammering the young grass, because right, that's like, as they say all the time, that's the ice cream. And they were going for that and leaving the taller stuff. So I'm moving them a little bit faster through this area until we get off of this side-by-side trail that all that young grass is, because I don't want them to stunt that and put it too far back. But so it's been 15 minutes. This is my evening walk. I really find that it relaxes me and really enjoy it. So for those 4 people that will watch this, thanks for watching. The intent of my videos are just to share it with a few people that like to follow what we're doing. I'm definitely not trying to go viral or be one of those people with having to try to get everybody to watch their videos. Just something neat to look back on. So yeah, the next big step will be a milk cow next week. And in the meantime, getting the barn ready for Hunter's high school graduation party this Saturday. Have a great day. So this year's our first year with pigs, and you know, my fear has been them getting out, because you just hear stories, horror stories of chasing pigs. And I came out this morning and I don't see them anywhere. They usually literally come running up, and my heart rate is skyrocketing through the roof for the first 30 seconds of processing where they could be. And and then I hear them snorting, and somehow they flip the IBC tote up. So they're in there, and just since last night, because I came out and checked them at 9 o'clock. So they're in there. They're not out of the enclosure. They're not running through my neighbor's fields, because that's my concern. And they must hear me, because they're getting a little unruly. So I need to go get the pigs out of the tipped up IBC tote.